As someone who eats fewer calories on a GLP-1, I know the struggle of trying to hit your protein and your fiber while eating less. I'm going to show you how I create some simple meals that taste good and don't take a lot of prep. I'm not a chef. I'm not a cook. This is just what I found works for me and my family. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Lenore. I am a nutritionist and nutrition coach on a GLP-1. I know what to do. I just need a little help doing it. So I'm using my knowledge to help me hit my goals and hopefully to help you too. I'm currently on 2.5 milligrams of Zepbound tirzepatide. I am on the lowest dose, and I am working my hardest to eat enough calories and hitting my protein and fiber goals. This can really be a struggle for a lot of people who don't have an appetite. It's really hard to hit 100 and 120 grams of protein if you're not used to eating a lot of protein, let alone not have an appetite and also trying to hit fiber. So let's go ahead and start the day. So y'all know I'm trying to be a part of the 5 a.m. club, well, 5:30 a.m. And I've been doing really well, except my husband and my son went out of town. And so last night I found myself up really late, just watching and binging and just enjoying the bed to myself. So I did not get up at 5:30 this morning and I had to run to the grocery store, but it's all good. We're still going to move on with our day. So let's go. We had to make a quick trip to the grocery store. Me and my boy. Say hey, Harvey. We got a little bit of a late start, but I really wanted these waffles and they're BOGO right now. So I am going back home and we're going to have breakfast. All right. So I was really craving these waffles and I posted a short a couple of months ago about how to tell if you are eating something that is a good source of protein. And this was an example of what was not a good source of protein. Now, let me explain. So this is 230 calories with 10 grams of protein. You want to try to make your main source of protein to be at least 10% of your calories in grams. So for instance, this is 10 grams of protein and 230 calories. So 10% of 230 would have been 23, right? It is not. So this is not a great source. It still has protein. I'm craving it, but let me show you how I'm going to try and make this a little bit better for breakfast. So I'm going to have one of these waffles. And then what I'm going to add is a yogurt with some blueberries. And that will be my breakfast. That'll get me to 361 calories, 25 grams of protein, and 5 grams of fiber. Okay, so my day is just starting. And the biggest advice you'll see everywhere, all over, is preload your protein for the day. This is not doing that. But I know, because I planned, that I'm going to have more protein with my lunch and my dinner. And this is not the end of the world. Okay. We're not going to shrivel up and die because we didn't hit a big protein goal in the morning. But 25 grams is actually really, really good for protein. I know there's a lot of things out there. There are a lot of recipes with 40, 50 grams of protein. And for breakfast, that's really tough for me to eat that much protein. And I will just get mine a little bit further in the day. And it's okay. If you have trouble eating more protein throughout the day or later in the day, maybe it's a good idea for you to front load your protein. And so I will show some recipes, later on with eggs. This is actually really good for people who are tired of eggs. This is just another option, and we'll get that in later in the day. So I'm going to make breakfast. Okay, I really like the Kodiak Power waffles, the thick and fluffy. So there's other waffles that they have that are protein waffles that are not as thick. So you could actually have one waffle. I think the serving size is 2 for the smaller ones. But I actually prefer the taste of these. And my kiddo really likes these too. So to have these in the freezer, sometimes I'm craving a waffle that I don't have to actually make. During the week, it's just really tough to get that all in. So we're going to choose convenience today with a frozen waffle. Okay, so you'll want to pop these in the microwave for 30 seconds. That'll get them kind of warm on the inside, and then we're going to toast it. You can see it's crispy, but definitely soft on the inside. So these are really good. These are blueberry. They have the regular buttermilk too. Okay, so all I'm going to do is add some sugar-free syrup to the top. Done. Easy. Now we're just gonna add some yogurt and we're good to go. Mm. Okay, so then all I do is transfer my yogurt to another bowl so that all my blueberries will fit. And then I washed my blueberries, and this is about a half a cup maybe. It's simple, yummy, tasty. And this easy meal was 361 calories, 25 grams of protein, and 5 grams of fiber. We are on track. All right, now let me go eat. I'll be back. Okay, so I work from my desk, trying to come up with some stuff for you guys. But I really always have a big old thing of water at my desk. Oh my gosh, Harvey, shush. Just staying up on my water. Because y'all, if you up your fiber and your protein and you don't drink your water, it's going to backfire big time. And it's going to be worse than it already is with the GLP-1 if you have trouble with constipation. So stay up on your water. And again, movement keeps you moving. So also try to make sure you stay busy, up and about, to make sure you keep moving. Movement gets you moving. Okay, let's go eat lunch. Okay, it is lunchtime. I am home alone today, so I have a little bit of time to set up. Last week was rough. All right, so today for lunch, I'm gonna have a tuna wrap, and I have my wraps this time. And I'm using the Mission Zero Net Carb wrap, so it's 80 calories, 15 grams of fiber, but what's great about these are they're 5 grams of protein. So this is what I use, or what I normally use with my chicken Caesar wraps. But I also like to do my tuna wraps with this. So I'll either do a tuna sandwich or a tuna wrap. I'm kind of the only one that uses these. So I bought these, so I'm going to use these more often than the bread this week. That's kind of how I do my grocery shopping. So because I bought these, I'm going to have to use these over the next 2 weeks. So those are the things that I'm going to be making. All right, so for the wrap, I use mayo. I'm going to have some bell pepper, lettuce, and then banana peppers. I am going to use an egg for extra protein and a little fat because I did not have eggs this morning. Sometimes when I'm hungry, I'll do 2 eggs and like an extra pack of tuna. If you're prepping meals for a couple of days, I like to do a big batch of tuna. So I'll do 3 packs with 2 eggs, and that'll last me 2 days. So it gives me a little more tuna without having to go to 2 packs. So I can do 1.5 for today and then 1.5 for tomorrow. But I'm only going to do this for today. So I only want to do 1 pack, and I'm going to do 1 egg. Another good option for some fiber besides these wraps are going to be the Sara Lee Light. I think it's the Sara Lee Delight bread. It's 45 calories. Those have 8 grams of fiber for 2 slices. If you wanted to do maybe a sandwich, I love to toast the bread and do a tuna sandwich on toast. That's also really good, and you still get some fiber. So I am doing a video next on some high fiber options, mostly with whole foods. I don't like to do a lot of like the Fiber One bars and things like that. So I'm going to try and just show you guys some options. I'll include a couple of those, but I really want to show you how you can get fiber throughout the day with whole foods with a little of the packaged foods. So these tortillas, the reason they're 0 carb or low carb is because they add fiber. When you're doing a low carb diet and you're tracking net carbs, what they do is they add the fiber to your food and you subtract that fiber from your carbs. So because this has 15 grams of fiber, it is also 15 grams of carbs. So what you're doing is you're taking your grams of fiber, subtracting that from your carbs. That gives you net 0 carbs. So you'll notice a lot of pre-packaged foods will have a good amount of carbs and higher fiber, but they're going to be taking that fiber away from the carbs, which will leave it as a low carb food, but they are packing that extra fiber in there. And it's not always best to have that type of fiber, that much fiber throughout the day. So if you were to have 2 of these tortillas, you're looking at 30 grams of fiber. So I would stick to, one of these types of foods a day so that you're spreading out your fiber through whole foods and you're not just getting it from prepackaged foods. And it's better for your gut that way too. So I just like a little bit of bell pepper in my wrap. I'm also doing 1 full boiled egg, and I am keeping the yolk. I didn't have eggs today, and you still need fat for your diet, okay? Especially as we get older, having enough fat, good fats in our diet is actually good for our hormones. And of course, listen to your doctor. We want to get some fat from your nuts and avocados, eggs, even some dairy. All right, so I want 21 grams, and that's actually exactly 21 grams. We're gonna get all the tuna out. Okay, I wanna add some salt and a little bit of pepper. Oops, shoot. Oopsie. All right, and a little bit of mustard. I think that will be good. When I make my deviled eggs, I like a little bit of mustard and pickle juice. I don't know, that's how my mom taught me. Just a little bit. Let's mix this up. Let's do a little taste test. When the shoulders start to move, you know it's good. All right, I'm gonna build it. Let's build it. So those wraps are a little bit smaller than the garden version. They're pretty big. So I don't roll it like a wrap. I make it like almost like a soft taco. Also gonna add some banana peppers instead of pickles. Normally I add pickles, but I just like that little kind of tang. Ooh. All right, with some lettuce. You could also do little lettuce wraps or little boats. But I want you guys to remember, fiber is a carb. So when you go super low carb and you're trying to stay away from grains and carby foods, you are also not getting as much fiber. So if you are on low carb, you got to really just keep in mind the whole foods that you're allowed to eat on your diet, that they are some of the higher fiber foods. Again, this next video that's coming up next week will be some fiber options for you. You ready to try it? Oh, it's kind of messy. Yummy. Okay. Now, all right, so tuna wrap, 285 calories, 28 grams of protein, 16 grams of fiber. We're doing pretty good for lunch. Normally, I would have some kind of fruit, but breakfast was pretty heavy. And so I'm probably not gonna do the fruit, maybe later. But I would normally try and do some grapes or mango or something extra on the side. But I feel like this is gonna be pretty filling. We're just gonna stick with this. All right. Then I gotta go back to work, drink some more water, and I'll see you for dinner. This is the shake I use usually mid-afternoon before dinner. I'm gonna drink this. I'll have dinner in a few hours. So if I forget and I get too close to dinner, I will drink this at night. Right now, we're gonna drink this, 30 grams of protein. And did you see that? I need glasses. I need glasses. Okay. So 30 grams of protein and 1 gram of fiber, my dear. Okay, it's about 4:45 and I'm gonna start prepping the potato for dinner. So I am gonna have a sweet potato. This goes in the oven for an hour. So if you don't have an hour or if you don't really have time, you can also poke holes in this, throw a damp paper towel around it and put it in the microwave on the potato setting. This one's a pretty big potato, so it would take me about 1.5 rounds of the potato setting. I just really prefer it baked. And I'm home today, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the oven now. And then about 30 minutes in, I'll start cooking the rest that goes with it, so it's ready around the same time. You can also bake it if you prep on Sundays. You can bake them ahead of time and then just heat them up in the microwave, and they come out pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and the way I do it is I just get my frustrations out for the day. And then I'm going to use parchment paper. That's it. And I'm going to put it in the oven for an hour. and let that bake up. And we'll, about 45 minutes in, I'll test it. This is pretty big, so I have a feeling it's going to take the whole hour, and we'll go from there. All right, so the potatoes are almost done, and I'm going to go ahead and start making the filling. We're doing the stuffed potatoes, so I'm going to fill it with some ground turkey seasoned with some taco seasoning. I tested this last week for my husband and my son, and they tore it up. I was actually really surprised that they liked it because I put a little cottage cheese. I have to blend the cottage cheese though, so it's not chunky. They ate it up. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. They're not here today, so I'm just going to do a small serving for me, and then the rest will be for lunch tomorrow. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do is sneak in some zucchini. They're not huge fans of zucchini, so I chop this up really, really small and mix it up in the ground beef, and they have no clue it's in there. And it just some extra nutrients for my boys that don't like veggies, mostly green veggies. Okay, so I am going to saute some onions, and then we'll add the zucchini and the ground turkey. Okay, so I diced this up really, really small. They can't tell it's in there. All right, so I had to make them really, really small. They're picky. So I'm gonna let that cook for just a couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna add the ground turkey and get that browned and yummy. So we're gonna mix that up real good and get it all nice and brown. Okay, so the meat is cooked, and we're gonna add seasoning and a little bit of water. All right, so we got all of this mixed. We're just gonna let it sit for a little bit. Let's check on the sweet potato. Okay, so we should be able to, oh yeah, if the knife goes in pretty easy, it's done. You see all the little juices coming out? It's another way you can tell. You can see the bottom. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Okay, so I just added about half a cup of cottage cheese, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend it just to make it a little bit smoother. So you can see I prefer it smoother than just kind of chunky, but you can leave it chunky. I've seen everybody else do it. Okay, so I'm only doing half of the potato, but you can see how perfectly cooked it is. So you can see the zucchini is completely softened, and it just takes the taste of the seasoning, just absorbs that, so you don't really taste it. I mean, I like zucchini, so I don't mind, but if you have someone in your family who's not big on it. All right, so that's about 5 ounces. Now, the fun part, actually 2 fun parts. Right, so I blended it. I had to put a little bit of water because it was super thick. Okay, and then you're going to take this Mike's hot honey and just drizzle this on there. That is about a serving right there. I just checked, 21 grams is a serving. And it's so freaking delicious. So it's just like a sweet and spicy, cheesy meal. It's nice and hot still. Oh my gosh. That is freaking delicious. It's better today than it was the other day. You can also add avocado, but when I tested it last time, it was a lot of food. And so this seems like a lot too, but for dinner, it's perfect. Okay, I got my notes. So for this meal, it was 480 calories, 44 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber. Let's recap the day. For the day, I'm at 1,276 calories, okay, 128 grams of protein, which is really good. That's above my goal. 26 grams of fiber, 112 grams of carbs, and 42 grams of fat. So this is a really, really good day. Good fiber, good protein, a perfect amount of calories for my deficit. Remember, the older you are, the shorter you are, and the less muscle you have, the less calories you need, meaning you'll need less calories to lose. This is very, very filling, and it tastes delicious, and it's got a lot of nutrients. So I'm really happy with dinner and with my day today. So let me know what you guys think, and if you try this out. Make sure you like and subscribe if you liked these meals. I'm going to be doing another one next week, also with high fiber swaps and some high fiber options for you. So I'm really excited about that too. So keep watching, and I will see you on the next one. About to get my grub on.